let's clear up any confusion we have regarding Calvin Phillips. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the West Ham Network. I'm Anton here, bringing to you today's West Ham Daily. If you haven't already, go and check out the content from Russ this morning. Some great content coming your way, giving you some players we're linked to, giving you some of our opinions ahead of all the games coming up. And what a fantastic last couple of games we have had. And yeah, we forgot what it was like to win games, but we've won 2 on the trot. And we now come into the big European tie against Freiburg in Germany. A team that we have beaten twice already in the group stages, but this game should be treated absolutely differently. No ifs or buts or maybes. But I'm here to talk to you about a little bit of confusion around one particular player that West Ham have, and that is Calvin Phillips. And there's been confusion as whether Calvin Phillips could potentially start for West Ham in the Europa League. Now, listen, nobody can deny that it's been a rough start for Calvin Phillips since joining the club of West Ham from Manchester City on loan this season. It's been not great. He gave away a couple of goals. He was sent off in his first few games, and he did look a little bit rusty in his game time. Again, he was suspended on the bench for West Ham's only wins so far this season, but he did enjoy his first real positive experience in a West Ham shirt at the weekend. He came on as a second half substitute against Everton when the score was 1-1, and we did secure that late 3-1 win. And he gave a reasonable account of himself, if I'm being honest with you. He tidied up the ball well. He distributed the ball really well. And I think what will come with a Calvin Phillips is the more game time that he has to be available and can play is potentially, hopefully, will bring out the best in him. And many fans did believe that he would be sitting out of action this week, though, but that they and definitely have been mistaken from it, and confusion over his availability for the game at West Ham or in Freiburg in Germany for the last 16 has definitely been cleared up. Now, having played for Manchester City already in the Champions League this season, fans thought he wasn't eligible for the Europa League, and that would have been correct pre 2018, but UEFA rule change introduced back that then had prevented players from being cup tied in European competitions. So people thought that because West Ham had already submitted their Europa League squad to UEFA for the campaign before signing him in January, but there is a second submission made for the knockouts after the January transfer window, and West Ham have already confirmed that Phillips was added to the Europa League squad after joining. That means he will be available for this huge clash in Germany against Freiburg. And we know this is not going to be an easy game. There's no point in trying to just build upon what we know of them. I mean, we'll do that to a certain extent, but the game has changed and teams perform differently at different stages in the season. You know, if Freiburg had came up against West Ham 4 weeks ago, I would have no hope at all, but they are coming up against West Ham, who are hopefully coming into this game with a bit of momentum. Them, Freiburg themselves, also coming into the game with a little bit of momentum, drawing 2 each with Bayern Munich. But the key point talking to you about Calvin Phillips today is that this is a real opportunity for him to try and start cementing his place in this team. This is an opportunity for him to start from the off, potentially, depending on what David Moyes decides to do, give him an opportunity to run out, a collection of games in a row where he will start to play some real game time. We are now back to, as long as West Ham keep progressing through European stages, but at least for the next 2 weeks, 2 games a week back at West Ham again. So there's real opportunity for Calvin Phillips to get minutes. And this is where I feel like we could really see the best of Calvin Phillips, using his experience of being in and around the Manchester City squad, albeit not playing a lot of game time whilst being at Man City, but he has had European experience. We can't take that away from him, and he needs to be given that game time. His legs need to run a little bit more, and he is a really tidy player when he's on form, and this European competition is definitely a real opportunity. Now, we will be bringing you our guess on what our starting 11 will be for the game. You can also put it in the comments and let me know your thoughts on what you think will be West Ham's best starting 11. But I could see David Moyes giving his main man, Calvin Phillips, a chance to show what he's capable of doing if he wants to potentially rest a player or so. Is it classified as resting? I'm not so sure, because I think that David Moyes can utilize this squad, the thin squad that we've got, to maximize the support. You could see James Ward-Prowse move out of the team, albeit he's been very successful in Europe so far for West Ham. You could see Tommy Soucek move out, although he's been successful recently, scoring a goal against Everton. And what do you do with El Machine? Do you consider resting him when he is performing at the top level? But if you've got 3 or 4 of these players performing at the highest level, then that gives you a real good chance at progressing in a tournament. And we need to take this game serious because it's been a while since we've had the first leg away from home and the second leg at home. And you can need to try and do a job as you much as possibly can. Do you believe Calvin Phillips can do a job for West Ham at Freiburg in Germany? I do. He needs game time. He needs regular time. And from what I saw when he came on against Everton, he didn't make any mistakes. He was calm on the ball. Like I said, he can break up the play and he can distribute the ball really well. He was high up in the ranks when he played at Leeds. The reason why Manchester City signed him for long balls, distributed, short passes distributed, and he can really be that buffer between everyone in the middle of the park. Again, it's going to be a big decision what David Moyes is going to do. But for any form of confusion, let's remove it. Calvin Phillips will be available for the game against Freiburg. So when it comes to the decision making on David Moyes, and the question I'm going to ask to you and leave you here now is, would you play and start Calvin Phillips for the game in Germany? Is it too early, or does he need a bit more experience in this West Ham squad and playing time in this West Ham squad? And is this too big a deal for us to give him the opportunity? But this competition could be the catalyst to his West Ham future. Who knows? Put it in the comments. Let me know. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up. Leave your comments. And, of course, come on, you Irons.